we're going to completely shift self-care on its head. Self-care is no longer massages and bubble baths. Those things are incredible. Definitely seek them out. Take your time to do them. But I am someone who's like, I cannot fit another appointment on my schedule. I cannot carve out an hour as often as I would need it to do these things for self-care. I want you to forever now, going forward, when you think about self-care, you are caring for that inner self. Ask yourself, what is it that I really want in this moment? And whatever thought pops in is the answer. Take action from there, which is going to help you bring back your intuition, feeling more grounded, feeling more balanced, and sitting in the seat of our incredible feminine power that we have stopped using for so long. Okay, so here's your 5 categories. In this video, I want to talk about how to slow down as rushing women, running around and doing it all. And what I think is really important before we can even start to do that is to understand why. I have a feeling this is about to be one of my favorite videos I've ever made, and buckle up, because I think if you actually take time to watch this and do the things that I'm about to walk you through, this is going to be one of the most powerful things you've done for yourself in your entire life. The coolest part about this is that it's going to be really easy. It's going to be super fun. And this is going to be something that can create deeper connections with you and your girlfriends, or just simply with you and yourself, which you definitely deserve, which is going to help you create deeper relationships with other women. So as women, obviously we have a lot of tasks. We wear a lot of hats. We play a lot of roles. There is just simply the reality of we have a lot on our plate. That being said, as women, I know, and I know you know, that we also take on more than we need to for reasons that perhaps we don't totally understand or aware of, or fully get. And so I want to talk about those in here. From this video, my goal for you is to have a deeper connection with yourself, a greater sense of grounding and balance. When we have that internal guidance, that internal steady and calm, we are less focused on the external world in order to create feelings of worthiness or in order to try to understand our lives. We anchor less to things out of our control and things more in our control. Hang with me, because you're going to understand more about this and what I mean in a minute. But basically as women, we are extremely intuitive. We have always had this inner guidance, this inner voice that is one of the most powerful pieces of us as women that we could access. And along the lines, we have stopped tapping into it. I want to talk about perhaps why that is. And then what we're going to do here is so fun. We are going to reconnect with that inner voice, with that inner guidance. You are going to start to re-tap into your intuition. This is going to completely change your life. This is going to create such a force within you that you aren't even going to need a lot of the outside influence. You have it all right here. And I'm so excited for you to do this. And it's going to be so fun the way we're going to do it. So I first want to talk about something. So in the past, and please remember, our DNA as women has not changed in thousands of years. The only thing that has changed is our environment and the roles that we play, and kind of like cultural traditions, right? We have not changed as women. So everything that women had thousands of years ago, we have in us. Among the indigenous cultures in North America, the Navajo had their medicine women. These women were healers and spiritual guides. They passed down stories from generation to generation. They were deeply attuned into the natural world, and they drew upon their intuition to decipher signs from elements, animals, and the celestial bodies. I want to share this story with you so you start to realize and remember what we have within us. In times of crisis or decision-making, the community turned to these wise women. Their intuition was a vital source of insight, guiding the community through challenges and creating harmony within the tribe. Women in these tribes were actively involved in decision-making processes, contributing to a balanced approach to the leadership within their community. This is a powerful reminder of the strength that we have as women. So women were literally sought after for their ability to tap into their insightful guide in order to create solutions and major decisions within communities, cultures, and tribes. I want you to think about how powerful that is, right? And think about how things are run today and how different they are. And perhaps, the same thing that has created that shift in cultures and communities, not listening to women's intuition, is the same thing that has created the shift in us, turning off quieting and ignoring our intuition. So what are the things that have happened that have changed? Why did we stop listening to our intuition as women? And why did men, leaders, other women in communities and cultures stop turning to women's intuition to help make decisions? There's a few reasons that could be, and I'm going to cite some historical evidence of that, and then we're going to dip into the fun stuff, so hang with me. All right, so patriarchal society structures started to come into play. So often rooted in religious or philosophical beliefs, these societies that were rising tended to prioritize male perspectives, associating intuition with the emotional and spiritual, which was marginalized in favor of what they were calling rational thinking. Also, with the scientific revolution and rationalism, emphasis on reason, logic, and empirical evidence led to the devaluation of non-quantifiable aspects like intuition and feeling. Lastly, societal expectations and gender stereotypes. As gender roles became more defined, whether good or not, intuition was associated with femininity and relegated to more personal realms, not societal realms. So more like hidden within the home. These intuition and insights no longer played such a role in society or leadership decisions. So historically, women's intuition stopped being listened to, tapped into, and respected as a guiding force. And internally, I think most of us women have started to do the same thing. In this video, what we're going to do, we are going to tap back into that inner voice, that inner force, that inner knowing. We're going to team up with her, and she's going to become our greatest guide that we always have access to. This is going to lead to more clarity, more confidence, more calm, more groundedness, and more of a sense of knowing in our decision making that is so beyond priceless. I'm so excited for you to experience this. Okay, I want to kind of explain a little bit of background and where we've lost this inner voice and inner sense. We all have an inner voice, and it's always there narrating our life. And for a lot of us, this has become such background noise. It's almost like an air conditioner. Like we don't even recognize it. We don't even hear it. And the first thing I want you to start to do is start to tap into that inner voice. This inner voice comes from our subconscious. It basically is trained by the programming that we have learned from our mothers, fathers, teachers, and preachers, right? So this inner voice often shows up as thoughts of, oh, you really should do it like this. You really should hop on and do that email. You really could have done better. You have a minute to yourself. You really should be doing this thing or that thing. It might show up like a lens for all the things that you could be anxious or fearful in your day. It could be like nervous energy. Like, what if this? What if that? What am I going to do when this happens? What if that happens? God forbid this. Feelings like that. It might show up as judgment or criticism. How dare you wear that? You look so fat. Look at your wrinkly face. Like, this voice tends to get really loud when you look in the mirror, ladies, especially first thing in the morning when we're picking our faces apart. I want you to start to connect that inner voice with our inner self and our intuition. Stay with me here, okay? That inner voice is our inner roommate. It's our intuition. It's our inner guidance. And what we're going to start to do is we're going to name her so we can team up with her. So we'll get there in a second. I want you to start to further elaborate on the kinds of things that your inner voice, that your narrator says to you. I want you to start to almost like create a theme for them, right? So like, is it a critical voice? Is it a nervous voice? Is it a should voice? Is she shoulding all over you with all the things you should be doing or shouldn't be doing? Is she constantly talking? Is she like really chatty and fast-paced? Is she kind of slow and like heavy? All those things. I want you to really start to think about that. And I want you to create a name for this inner voice. And it's really fun if when you do this, you make a 2-word name with the beginning words sounding the same. So for instance, if your inner voice is one that's like, what if this, what if that, thinking of all the things you could be anxious or fearful about, like Nervous Nelly would be a really good name for this inner voice. If your voice is constantly talking and telling you all the things you need to be doing, Chatty Cathy is one that could fit. If she's judgy and critical, right? She could be Judge Judy. She could be anything. But the more kind of silly and fun you can make this name, the better. What we're going to start to do is we're going to start to recognize when this voice is chiming in, realizing she is not you, she is an inner roommate, and we need to change the way that she shows up. So probably without realizing, for most of your life, as you're hearing this inner voice and this inner chatter, you have been aligning with her and just like taking everything on viscerally in your body that she is saying, right? If it's things like what you should be doing, you can feel this heaviness, literally shoulder tension. Maybe you feel stress in your stomach. Maybe you feel tightness, angst. If she's someone who's nervous, again, that might show up in your stomach, that might show up in your neck muscles. Like you are literally taking on everything she has said. What we're going to start to do is create a little bit of a distance between this inner roommate and our true self, our highest self, the better, I don't want to be judgmental, our higher self, okay? So there's our chatty Kathy, and then there's the higher self that's just a little bit removed that can kind of like listen to chatty Kathy or Judge Judy or Nervous Nelly and start to see it as more of a game, like, oh, here she comes again. Here she's chiming in into my life and all the things I should be doing or could be nervous about. I'm going to choose to recognize that this is her chatting away. So you're going to start to identify that inner voice. You're going to create a theme for the things that she talks about, for the way that she shows up. You're going to name her. You want to get as descriptive as possible. So almost what can be helpful for this is obviously doing this on paper is really impactful. I want you to think about you're describing this inner roommate to a friend, right? So like, say it's Nervous Nelly is your inner roommate. Your friend is like, hey, should I hang out with this chick? Is she cool? How would you describe her? Nervous Nelly might be described as like, well, she's super high energy. She's going to remind you of all the stuff in your life that like could go wrong. She's probably not someone that you want to go get a strong coffee with, because if so, by the end of the coffee, you're going to be freaking out in full stress mode. That is Nervous Nelly. That's how I would describe her. So go ahead and describe her to a friend and create her name. Okay. Now I'm going to plant a seed that's going to help you understand why you have this inner roommate that is showing up the way she's shown up for your entire life, and that you have the ability to completely change her narrative into a more powerful inner guide and voice. If this inner roommate is going to be living in us, which again, she has our entire lives for as long as we can remember, what if we could change her voice from naggy, stressful, nervous, judgy to an incredible, beautiful, loving, all-knowing, powerful inner guide? What if we could turn her into like the best friend, the best sidekick we could ever ask for? Well, we can. So here's what happened. Think about going back again to the story of the medicine women. So these women tapped into and understood and listened to and took action from their intuition, from their inner voice, from their inner guidance. Think about when you were born. Let's just make up a story that I think is very true. You were born with this inner voice. And as women, we are designed to tap into that inner voice. That is one of our best gifts as women that men maybe have, but I think it's really, truly where we shine as women. You're given this incredible, beautiful, amazing tool, and we don't listen to it, right? We've stopped listening to it. Society has stopped listening to it. So picture that inner roommate that you're gifted with the day that you're born as a woman. Picture she's in you, just waiting to be able to tell you all the things so that you can work together and be best friends. Picture that for centuries, you and this inner roommate, in all the forms that we have lived as women, have worked together. That is the contract. That is the agreement. You're going to talk about everything. You're going to share your deepest secrets. Think about, she is like your best friend. Picture your best friend. You tell her everything. She knows everything about your life. You call this best friend anytime something big is coming up. Any major decision you have, you go to this best friend, you meet her for coffee, you ask her for advice, and you take advice. Okay? If you have one of those relationships in your life, consider yourself lucky, because not every woman does. But if you do, I want you to picture that friend, that best friend that you have in real life. You go to her for everything. You listen and you take action. And what if all of a sudden, one day, out of nowhere, you stopped communicating with her? You stopped talking to her. You stopped taking her phone calls. You stopped meeting her for lunch. You completely turned your back on her and just disappeared, like out of nowhere. You spent every day together, all day, every day. And poof, like everything changes overnight. She has no idea why it changed. You gave no indication of anything changing in your relationship. How would this best friend of yours in real life feel? She'd probably feel very confused, right? At first, she'd probably feel really sad. She'd probably feel really hurt, betrayed. And after days and days and weeks, maybe it's like sad, worry, confused, all the things, she comes to find out you're okay. You didn't get hurt. You just changed your mind. You didn't want to have this relationship with her anymore. Then how would she feel? Probably pissed off, probably angry, probably resentful, probably like, who the hell does she think she is, right? That kind of energy. Well, let's go back to your inner roommate. For centuries, thousands of years, these inner roommates were used to showing up that way. They were used to being in a relationship with women in that way. And all of a sudden we stopped listening, right? So maybe when you were a little girl, you listened to this intuition. Maybe that was your inner guide. I mean, if you watch little girls, like they are very present. They're very tuned in. They do what makes them happy. I'm sure they're very much teamed up with this inner voice. And then at some point, because society teaches us to, we stop listening. So think about that best friend that you stopped meeting for coffee and put that voice, put that friend in your body. She's pissed off. She's angry. She doesn't understand why you stopped listening. That is who you have guiding your life, right? That is Chatty Cathy. That is Nervous Nelly. That is Judge Judy. So what if, and this is all very playful, this is all very fun, but like, what if it really works? Like, what if it's this easy? What if it's this playful? What if it's this fun for you to completely change all this in your life? It's free. She's with you all the time. What if you can make her more powerful, more all-knowing, more grounded, more conscious, and more working with you in your life? And you can. I'm here to tell you can. And here's how you do it. Okay. She's your inner self, and she is who you're going to start to think about when you hear the term self-care. We're going to completely shift self-care on its head. Self-care is no longer massages and bubble baths. Those things are incredible. Definitely seek them out. Take your time to do them. But I am someone who's like, I cannot fit another appointment on my schedule. I cannot carve out an hour as often as I would need it to do these things for self-care. I want you to forever now, going forward, when you think about self-care, you are caring for that inner self. You are meeting that friend for coffee again. You are realizing how powerful she was in your life. You want her back. You never want to turn your back on her again. And you're going to take care of her in a way that makes her understand that you're not going anywhere and that you will forever work together in this friendship, in this relationship. You're going to take her advice. You're going to take action from there, and she is going to trust you again. How do you care for that inner self? This is the next question. Oh, this is so fun. This is so powerful. That's why it's so fun. Okay, so how do you care for her? What I want you to do is start to write down 5 different categories of things that you are going to choose from. Whatever one she wants is the one that's going to resonate the most with you. And so throughout your days, when you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, I want you to pick something in one of these categories that sounds good to you. Put your hand on your heart, close your eyes, ask yourself, see what that is there? Ask yourself, what is it that I really want in this moment? And whatever thought pops in is the answer. Take action from there. You're caring for yourself, which is going to help you bring back your intuition, feeling more grounded, feeling more balanced, and sitting in the seat of our incredible feminine power that we have stopped using for so long. Okay, so here's your 5 categories. I would write these down. You are going to give yourself choices for one of these 5 things. So 1, you're going to do things that help you get in your body. What does that mean? Examples of this could be things like dancing, yoga, stretching, running, working out, right? So I've got 10 minutes. It's been a crazy day. I'm on emails all day. Put my hand on my heart. What is it that I want in this moment? I want to get in my body. Okay, I have 10 minutes. What do I have access to? Perhaps I'm in the office and there's a lot of people around me. Maybe getting in my body isn't realistic. So we'll go into one of the other choices. But if you work from home, like I do a lot of the time when I'm in between emails, if I get the clue or the inner knowing that I want to get in my body, I have 10 minutes, I might go for a quick bike ride. I might literally do some squats and push-ups. It gets you out of your brain, into your body, and back into your heart. Okay, choice number 2, get into the heart. So this is things that are more around being than doing. These are going to foster a sense of connection and presence. These are things that are going to feel really nurturing. So this might be like, go outside and put my face in the sun if it's nice out. It might be just like sit on my PEMF mat or sit on my couch and like do nothing, stare outside the window, like just be. Those would be the getting in the heart. Another one, choice number 3, get in the world or in the environment. These are in nature, right? So activities like hiking, sitting by a tree, walking on the beach, getting in the ocean, depending on what you have access to, something about getting in nature in the environment. This is going to create expansive feelings. Like nature often will do that. So we can get in our small day-to-day to-do tasks. Getting out in nature in the world is going to create more expansive thoughts and connection within ourself. So now when you hear self, I want you to think Chatty Cathy, Judge Judy, Nervous Nelly, self-care, right? Okay, learning a new skill. I mean, this is sometimes like more of a, I feel like you would anchor to this on a weekend where you have more space to figure out what that new skill is. And then you can spend you can have these micro experiences tapping into that skill. I'll give you an example in a minute. But this is, working on a new skill helps you align with your purpose. This can be through something like meditation, right? If meditation is new to you, I started skateboarding. So like I'll go to a skateboarding class and then maybe, if I have a 10-minute break here or there, I'll go play on my skateboard and just like balance, whatever. This can be, joining a group like my online best friends book nook where we reconnect with ourself and each other. You see how much I play on this self-care. This is always what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about that inner self. So joining something like our online book club, where it's not necessarily a new skill, but it's like a new piece of knowledge in your life. And then the last one, your last choice that you give yourself is a connection with divinity. So for some people, this might be like a religious connection, going to church or going wherever it is in your life that can feel like you have access to God or spirit or something, bigger or greater than you. This could be for someone who maybe has a more spiritual practice, like creating an altar in your home, maybe some meditation cards, any of the things. So basically what's a great idea to do is write down these 5 choices and stick them somewhere, maybe multiple places where you can see them throughout the day. If you work in an office, maybe type them really small, like on a little card and stick on your computer, right? So you've got these 5 choices. So when you have 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, and you're feeling scattered and you need to recreate that connection with yourself, pick one of these 5 choices, take action, and do it. This is by far one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. This also makes self-care super easy. And this is going to translate into getting back into our beautiful feminine power that we have lost for so long. Ladies, this is going to get you back to feeling like yourself again. And I mean, you can see it on my face. Like this creates so much joy, alignment, a purpose-driven life, and so much happiness in your life. It's really effortless. It's playful. It's fun. I want to hear the name of your inner self. I would love to hear what you name her. Drop it in the comments below. I want to hear any feedback on how this goes for you. I would love to hear more. I could do so many more videos on this. We can have so much interaction. This could be so fun. I also would love, if you liked this video, throw a like under it. If there's someone else in your life that you want to do this with, maybe that real life best friend that you meet for coffee, go ahead and hit the share button and send it her way. This is such a fun interactive thing to do together, to create the name of your inner self and share it with your friends. And as always, I love seeing you here. So I look forward to next time. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that episode, and I'll see you soon.